Gentlemen, how are you today? How's it going? I hear you have a busy day.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Bonnie. Nice to meet you virtually.
Nice to meet you via Zoom. This has been our lives for the last year, so it
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay with me. It gives us the opportunity to talk, and that makes me happy. First of all, congratulations to the both of you. This movie is so powerful. And Jon, I got to start with you because I was thinking about it as I'm watching, and my first question to you is, what scared you the most before you took off on this journey?
Uh, wow, that's a good one. That it wouldn't be received by my brothers the way I intended it to.
Wow.
That maybe my brothers wouldn't accept me. Maybe they would picture me as weak.
What week? Why would you even think that?
Well, it happens in the world of a warfighter. When you lay yourself bare on the altar of humility, uh, you wonder if your brothers will support you in this, and then to realize that they would, and that they absolutely always will.
Yeah.
Uh, that immediately changed me.
Amazing, amazing. So Brian, how did even get started and hook up? And Jon had already been on the road a bit, and then you kind of jumped in. So tell me a little bit about your relationship with him and how this all got going for you to make the documentary.
So John and I actually have a lot of mutual friends from high school, and I've been a video producer in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area for about 10 years. And as John had embarked on his journey, a lot of our mutual friends were sharing some of his newspaper articles and local TV specials that were being shared as John had walked almost 1,500 miles
Yeah.
from Maryland down to Florida, around to Louisiana. And so I come to realize, like, my next door neighbor was John's closest friend growing up. And we talked, and I was just immediately struck by John. And I think that, not having anybody in my immediate life that was in the military, I was curious, and I was inspired by what he was doing, the scale, the volume, and those newspaper articles, the interviews, they weren't just enough. I needed more, and I just felt really compelled to reach out. So my neighbor, John's best friend Dave, put us in contact. We reached out, and kind of the rest is history.
Yeah, yeah. And Jon, for you, like once Brian kind of came on board, you did this as for self-discovery for so many reasons, to help you, and you probably never had it in the back of your mind like, hey, let's make a documentary of my life. Who am I? Whatever. But yet, at the end of the day, this will probably help so many people. So what were you thinking when Brian came to you and said, hey, I want to do this. I want to, follow you on this journey?
I was very reticent in the beginning, and Brian quickly alleviated fears of mine through just shared experiences with loss of family members to addiction, suicide, whatever. There were parallels that I could see immediately, and we formed a very fast friendship, and we talked a lot, and then I put the walk on hold for a few days so I could fly back from Lubbock, Texas, back to Maryland to catch a VA appointment that I couldn't miss, because if you miss a VA appointment, you get stacked to the bottom of the deck and they'll call you 9 years later and they'll figure it out then.
Yeah.
So I couldn't miss that. So I had to fly home. And in that time, Brian and I went into Brian's basement and had a 2 hour interview and really kind of felt each other out. And from that moment forward, I said, okay, let's do this. I'm going to have to try to figure out some way to tell my boys that now I got this camera guy attached to me, and that, hey, man, you're going to be on camera.
Right.
But that was never received ill from any of them, or I didn't ever get pushback. The only question I was ever asked by any of my brothers was, "Is Brian on the level?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely."
Yeah.
And they said, "All right, well then we'll do this for you, because this is something we all believe in and something we want to see through for you." So they came up, stepped up, and supported me in that endeavor.
Amazing. And yeah, Brian, I was going to ask you that. Well, Jon, you kind of answered the question, but about, going from home to home and meeting his brothers and their reaction to you. But I guess to me, just watching this, you were also natural. Like, you all just had your conversations, and talked about shit and whatever. Like it was as if the camera wasn't even there. It's amazing.
Well,
I think a lot of that came through through the trust that my boys saw in Brian and myself. And once they saw that trust and they saw how I spoke about Brian, that transcended to them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's truly amazing to watch it. And Brian, for you to, I was wondering, at the end of this whole thing, what do you learn about yourself after seeing somebody like Jon, what he's done? Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, there was a lot of anxiety meeting and talking to somebody that is dealing with very serious things and traumatic memories for more, something that I don't have any context, I don't have any, relation to. There's not much I can relate to.
Right.
And so to those families and Jon's Marine brothers that I'm meeting, there was a lot of anxiety there but through each conversation with Jon and with his Marine brothers, I started to establish and find some calmness and contentment with having a conversation, not knowing exactly what to say and not having an answer and just being an open ear. And I think that's it's incredibly powerful to a gift to be there for somebody without judgment, without any answer for them, but just to listen and to be present for them in that moment. And so I hope that the film in some way is a reflection of what I learned through talking with them.
Yeah. Jon, it still amazes me to this day that after watching this film and so many other things about PTSD, about people who fight in the wars, and so many of them come back and are, dealing with traumas, whatever it is, whether it's mental or physical or whatever, and how they're not supported and how they have to go out and look for work as if they've not done anything with their lives or helped the country or anything. It blows my mind that I don't even know how to put it into words. At the end of the day, what do you hope, maybe people will see this and do you think that military will get more support after they've done this kind of thing? It's just blows my mind. Seriously.
I hope so. I will tell you that as a nation, I believe we have gotten exponentially better at what we do for our treatment of veterans when they do come home. I think blowing the lid off this whole traumatic experience issue and moral injury is something that needed to happen a long time ago, but it's happening now, and I'm happy for it. I could spend hours disparaging the VA, and I won't because I've already dealt with them. And so, anyone that says universal health care is a good idea, look to the VA, and I can tell you it's not. What is great, though, is the amount of people in this world who have stepped up, started nonprofits to help veterans and help first responders and to help them cope and deal with some of these traumatic experiences. That's your moneymaker right now. That's where it's at. For good upstanding Americans to just help each other and to focus on veterans, because let's face it, it's the most massive, diverse cross section of America, and to help any of us is to help all of us. And so, yes, it's getting better. I wish the government would be better about it. They can't be, and that's fine. So we'll do it on our own, and we'll support each other on our own because that's how we have to do it. Films like this really create the rawness that is necessary for the unknowing population to start to understand, so they don't get their information from Hollywood, from these trunked up little ideas of what PTSD looks like. It's stereotypical all day, and I hate it. And for us to really take our story back and be able to give it to the world in a way that we want to, versus something being crammed down our throats about how we should be.
What's the most important thing you learned about yourself after this?
That my process was to talk, and that a lot of veterans' process is actually to talk. But the nervousness and anxiety that forms around initially putting yourself out there and dealing with the judgment of others, it can be scary. I found that through me doing this, I have unconsciously allowed veterans to start their own process of doing that.
That's amazing. Well, listen, congratulations to the two of you, and thank you for this film. Thank you for your service. Of course, I should have said that off the top, but
Cheers, no worries.
you know, it just I really do commend you both for sharing this with everybody, and I think it will make a difference in many lives, and you should just feel good about that. So thank you so much for your time and for the film. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you,
having
sir.
us.
Oh,
Really.
you're very welcome. Take care,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.